Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the HabWrap. I'm your host, Terry Rice. You are listening to the friendliest and funniest source for anything and everything Montreal Canadiens. We had a good game tonight. We had a not-so-good game last time, which we will talk about in a minute, but the Montreal Canadiens are still in the playoffs. They're a little ways up on who's out of it, which we'll talk about in a little while. I do want to apologize because I didn't come up here to talk about the Bruins game as I said I would. As I mentioned Saturday, I was at my sister's wedding, which went very well, by the way. It was very nice. It was a very good ceremony. And, we watched the game. I did watch the game. I recorded it on my phone as I said I was going to. But by the end of the game, it was just like, okay, well, there was a few good things, but for the most part, it was just a bad game. So I told myself, I said, hey, you know what, whatever, I'm just going to talk about it when we talk about the Vegas game. So, yeah, I also apologize that I didn't get a DVD collection video update, or DVD collection video out. I will do 2 tomorrow. I don't know how exactly I'm going to do it. I know I usually post them around 7. I'll probably do one about 3 o'clock, and then maybe around like 10 o'clock we'll upload the next one. So I don't know how we'll do it, but I will get 2 DVD collection videos out tomorrow to make it up to you guys. So, talk very, very quickly about the Boston game. First period was good for the Canadiens. I thought they played very well. They only outshot the Bruins 6-2. And they would get the first goal of the game. It was Caufield who had a hat trick in that game. Cole played a very good game. Second period, Boston, I believe we left the period tied at 2 apiece. Cole gave the Canadiens the lead in the third period, and then the Bruins broke down our penalty kill. Basically, you cannot go 1 for 4 in a game on the penalty kill. A lot of people I saw blaming Montembeault, very pathetically blaming Montembeault for the loss in that game, and from what I saw, I looked very quickly through the videos on my phone, and it's not like I was like recording on a TV, by the way. No, it was screen recording, so it's as if I was watching on TV. I looked at my recordings and it was like, okay, well, yeah, there was maybe a bad goal, but how do you blame the other 3 when Mike Matheson is, on the penalty kill, skating into the offensive zone, trying to create offense instead of being back defensively doing his job? Like, I don't know. I think there were a multitude of issues with that game, and I thought that we just had to rebound this game against Vegas, which, spoiler, we played very well in. Whether we won or lost, we'll talk about. But, overall, the Boston game, aside from Cole getting a hat trick, which was a huge, huge highlight, and, of course, the player I like the most on the Canadiens would get a hat trick, the one game where I can't be 100% focused on the Montreal Canadiens. But, regardless, the Canadiens played a good game for parts of the Boston game. Again, the first period, I thought their power play especially looked really good. I believe Cole had a hat trick on the power play. Cole played well. I thought defensively there were some issues. You can blame Monty for maybe one of the goals, but when you're 1 for 4 on the penalty kill, that's just pathetic. That's ridiculous. You need to be better. So, again, very quick notes about the Boston game. Now let's talk about the Vegas game, the one that mattered, the one that was played tonight. Boston was playing Nashville. Unfortunately, they would end up coming back. They won 3-2 in overtime. Nashville came back, but Boston still won in overtime. But this game, Montreal and Vegas. So, what are the opening lines? Well, firstly, still no Laine. Laine and Newhook are being slowly eased back into the lineup, which I'm fine with that. I'd imagine Laine comes back first. I think Newhook is still probably out for another couple of weeks. He's probably out until right after the Olympic break, actually, if anything. Maybe he plays the last game before the Olympic break, but as far as I know, he's still out until after, until like March or something. So, the opening lines for the Canadiens, spoiler, they're very similar to how they've been recently. Caufield, Suzuki, Doc, Slavkovsky, Kapanen, Demidov, Anderson, Deneau, Gallagher, Bolduc, Evans, Texier up front, Matheson, Dobson, Gooley, Hudson, and Jack Carrier on the blue line. So thankfully, Marty not punishing Jack-Eye for Mike Matheson's mistakes once again. Jack-Eye gets another game in the lineup. So does Jakub Dobesh. He gets the start after Montembeault played on Saturday. Again, Samuel Montembeault backs him up. So we either do for 1-goal Dobesh or 6-goal Dobesh. We shall see. The opening lines for the Golden Knights were Smith, Eichel, Stone, Dorofeyev, Marner, Holtz, Barbashev, Hurdle, Kolesar, Reinhard, Luchinsky, Bowman. That fourth line did not play a ton. I think they were out for maybe 7 minutes total tonight. Lauzon, Theodore, Hannafin, Anderson, and Hutton, Korzak were on the blue line for Vegas. Akira Schmid gets the start for the Golden Knights, and Aiden Hill backs him up as Carter Hart is still injured. It usually would be Aiden Hill starting now, but they did call up Schmid because Carter Hart is hurt. So, the Canadian. I should probably go to the top of my notes. I don't think we should start from the third period. That probably won't be effective to anybody unless we're doing a memento thing right here. So in the first period, the Knights get a couple shots early. They led those 3-0 at 3-0 at 3 minutes. Marner was getting booed by some Habs fans. That was weird. That lasted through most of the night. There was a Marner chant at one point, but that didn't really go anywhere. Anderson and Jack-Eye with good shoulder checks. Andy ends up giving the puck away. Dobesh behind the net. He then gives a puck away, but there's no harm there. Habs finally get their first shot 4 minutes in. Very low-key early on. A little bit of a boring first period. The second and third would really ramp the game up. But the first period, for the most part, was unfortunately a little bit boring. Reinhardt gets engaged with a little bit of shoving after a whistle. Gooley just bullies him down. That's fun. There's some zone time for the third line. Gooley has an eventual shot, but that gets held. And then the Knights score after a good puck battle from the second line. Demidov ends up pinning himself and gives the puck away. That creates a 2-on-1. Hudson does take away the pass. Dorofeyev goes glove side, and that, of course, means that he scores. Dobesh's glove side is notoriously trash. The Knights go up 1-0, 9 minutes in. Dorofeyev scores from nobody. It's an unassisted goal. So, the Knights then hem the Canadiens in, but there's no shots there. There is one chance, but Hannafin ends up breaking his stick. Marner has a long-range shot off a turnover. That's held by Dobesh. Demidov has a good chance up high, but that is off the mask. Slav has a backhander off a rebound. He just misses that. Habs, we're kind of taking the power play strategy of stand around and hope the puck gets to you, which they would change, thankfully, at some point. Habs do get a shot. The rebound, Caufield has a wide open net, and Akira Schmid makes the save. Akira Schmid is one of those weird goalies where he puts up good stats, just is never given extended time in the NHL. If this game is any confirmation, signing Carter Hart was probably a bit of a mistake. Playing pro hockey, or going like 4 years between last pro hockey games, probably not ideal for Carter Hart. Probably should have gone to the KHL or the SHL, something like that, but probably should have played a year in the A before coming back to the NHL. But hey, if you or me were given $3 million a year to be bad in net, I'm sure we'd all take that. So, yeah. Habs do get a shot, or that's the one I just said. Hurdle hits a post on a rush chance. Dobesh did not look confident in the first period. He gained confidence as the game went on. First period, he was not confident whatsoever. Second line get a look. Slav just can't get a chance home on a scramble in front. Dobson does a nice poke at the line. Texier nearly keeps that in too, but it just comes out. We, at this point, had gone a long time without a whistle. I want to say it was six minutes without a whistle, 5 or 6. It was a while either way. There is finally one with, naturally, 8 seconds left. The Habs do press. There was a chance just saved with the blocker late. So after the first period, the Canadiens have the lead in the shots, 10-6, but the Knights, the only goal that matters as of right now, they have a 1-0 lead after the first period. In the second period, the Canadiens go to a power play early. Barbashev's called for a trip on Evans, 37 seconds in. The Knights do clear early twice. Habs with a cycle. Demidov has a one-timer. He elects to dust it off. He doesn't like what he receives. There is a pass across, no tip. Habs cycle again, and we score. Caufield has a one-timer that breaks his stick and still gets into the net. The Canadiens tie the game up. A beauty of a goal to put it home. But wait. Vegas is going to challenge for offside. Turns out about 30 seconds before the goal, the Canadiens were in offside. It was probably too close to call when it happened. So, yeah. Replay shows it is a very, very close offside. It was a bad angle being used by TSN, but obviously the refs have access to all the angles. And, yeah, it's a successful challenge, unfortunately. The goal comes off the board. Yeah. So, with that goal not counting, we come back about 40 seconds. We put 40 seconds back on the clock. Knights clear all the way. They solved the Canadiens' power play tonight. Both units just sucked. Habs are 0 for 1 on the power play. Texier comes in off a sudden 2-on-1. There's a shot, but that's high of the net. Knights get called for an offside after a chance. The Habs fourth line cycle the puck, and we score. Shoot the puck on the net. You never know what goes in. Sort of during a line change. Bolduc at the line just has a shot. Deneau tips it up high, and that gets home at 4:24. Phil Deneau with his second of the year, second back with the Canadiens. He scores from Zach Bolduc, the only assist there. That comes again at 4:24. A nice tip in front. Love to see it, and this game's tied just like that. Matheson has a nice hit. Vegas with a 5-hole look, but Dobesh holds. Doc and Evans get a 2-on-1, but the shot just gets saved, and the rebound is cleared from in front. Korzak has a shot deflected wide. This game really opened up in this second period. Marner finds Dorofeyev right in front on the doorstep. Good triplet of saves for Dobesh with the pad. I want to say that was Carrier and Gooley. I know they were sort of switching the units. Like it was at one point it was like Gooley. It was like Gooley and Jackeye in the offensive zone. They were sort of switching the line combinations defensively. So I think that was Gooley and Carrier, but it might have been Jackeye and Carrier because I know for sure Carrier was out there. But yeah, both blue liners just lost Dorofeyev and he gets the looks there. Back the other way. Lane Hudson. Okay, never mind. It was Hudson. It was Hudson and Carrier. Hudson gets fouled on a break. He winds up and he takes a slap shot that unfortunately does get saved, though. The rebound is sent out. That would have been awesome. The Knights press. Dobesh, at this point, is getting a little bit of stability in the net. He's starting to figure himself out rather than figure the Knights. Habs do get a 3-on-1 after a really good pass blocked by Matheson. The pass is over to Caufield and a really good glove save for Akira Schmid. If the Canadiens didn't end up scoring the goals on the shots that they did, Schmid probably would have been a top 3 star of this game. I actually probably would still give him the 3rd star over Dorofeyev. Spoiler alert. But yeah, I thought he played well. That's a good save. And then the Canadiens score anyways. Moments later. It's a nice cycle. Dobson gets it down to Matheson with a shot. Rebound. Caufield just backhands it home right on the doorstep. He's completely lost. Or I should say the Knights D completely lose him. Caufield's just lost. He just finds a puck and puts it home. No. Caufield, he puts it home, and that is not only his 30th goal of the season, but it's also a career-high 6-game goal streak. Of course, he had 5-game goal streak against Boston 3 times over. Now it's a 6-game goal streak. He puts it home from Dobson, and Matheson, biggest smile on the fucking guy's face. You love to see a happy cock. And god damn it, I love seeing cock be happy. Canadiens go to a power play shortly after. Deneau gets hooked on a near break. That's good to see. Habs get an early first unit chance. There is an eventual hand pass that's called off. Second unit cycle. Gallagher is an offside. Of course, the Canadiens are 0 for 2 on the power play. Anderson gives a puck away. That's a near 3-on-1, but Doc has a nice stick to break that up. Habs end up icing a puck with 6 minutes left after a hem-in by Vegas. Dobson is held out for about 2 minutes. Nobody could get Eichel off or Dorofeyev off the pucks. Off the icing, the Knights end up stacking their second line with, I believe it was Hurdle, Marner, and I believe they put Mark Stone out there, if I remember correctly. Habs do get it out. There's a near break for Texier, but a good D play stops that. Knights end up cycling. Dobesh making saves. Back the other way, this is top line Canadiens rush. They can't bury it on a good Caufield shot. That was nice. Back in the Hab zone, Marner all alone in front, dekes out Dobesh, shoots it wide. That actually goes wide just by the net, as that is shot off of Kapanen. So a very scary look there for Mitch Marner, but thankfully, keeping his Toronto ways, he chokes. The Habs then go to a penalty kill. Caufield gets called too for a trip with 3:30 left. Damn it. Habs do clear early. Fans were still booing Marner at this point. The Knights get some zone time. There was a good clear after a collapsing D play. The Canadiens are 1-for-1 on the penalty kill tonight. And then we go back with 42 seconds left. Hudson's called for holding the stick as he's trying to draw a hooking call. I like that. He tries to get it, but unfortunately the refs do end up calling it there. There's a good kill early by the Canadiens, and yeah, that does it with 40 seconds left. There's really not much you can do unless you score early, obviously. So, the shots, tied 20 apiece. It is a 2-1 Canadiens lead after the second period. Can the Canadiens shut the door in the third period? The Knights do set up early. There's a nice stop for Dobesh on the doorstep. Habs can't clear, but a couple good saves for Dobesh. Habs are 2 for 2 on the penalty kill. Hudson rushes into the zone. There's a shot saved by Dobesh as Hudson tries to break that up. Habs then go right back to the penalty kill as the Canadiens tried to get a rush going. Oliver Kapanen, in trying to get onside, ends up bumping into Mark Stone. He's called for interference. I get why the Canadiens fans really didn't like that. They were heavily booing that call. But I kind of understand it, I kind of get it. It's a shitty penalty, but I get it. So, yeah, Dobesh really makes a save. The Knights cycle. Good sticks by Montreal. They do eventually clear. They also clear twice late all the way down, not just to neutral. Habs are 3 for 3 on the penalty kill tonight. Jackeye gets pressured. He ends up giving a puck away right at the line. The Hannafin has a shot that goes off the post. Slav almost eats a headshot in the Knights zone. Thankfully, they don't go for the hit. They're just trying to get the puck. Knights led the shots in the third period 6-0, 5 minutes in. So naturally an Olay chant from the Bell Center for some reason. Suzuki gets tripped up. There's no call. Suzuki on a look has a shot just wide in the slot. Doc was a one-man show on the fourth line. I think if this is the point where they had switched the lines. I think they put Texier back on the first and put Doc on the... technically it was the fourth line, but I think they actually considered the Evans line the third line tonight. But yeah, Doc with a one-man show. He gets 2 good wrap tries. Just can't finish the job, though. He's still looking for his first point since returning from injury, too, which is a little surprising. You would think he'd have one by now. Knights try to press. Slav gets hit. That was a good hit before the Knights rush in. And then the Habs go to a power play halfway through the period. Theodore with a slash right to the midsection of Caden Gooley. None of the Canadiens go after Shea Theodore, which I understand. You're up by 1, blah, blah, fuck that. Go after Shea Theodore. That was an intentional slash to the midsection. Just fucking disgusting and what you would expect from Vegas Golden Knights. So, Habs do go to a power play. Top line tries to press. The Knights clear. Suzuki and Caufield passing with each other. They're trying to set up Hudson to Demidov, it looked like, but they just don't go for it. Suzuki eventually bobbles the puck, and the Knights do clear. Habs are 0 for 2 on the power play. Jack has a nice pass under pressure this time. He ends up clearing the zone. Dobesh, good save on a wide-open Anderson, who gets found. Knights end up icing a puck after a quote-unquote high stick on Jeremy Lauzon. The Canadiens starting to look okay. The Knights lead the shots 10-2 with 5 minutes left. Slav has a nice steal, but Demidov's tripped up on a spinorama. There's no call, of course. The Knights press back the other way, and they do eventually get the tie with 3 minutes left. Pavel Dorofeyev ties it up right in front, his second of the night. A god-awful goal for Jakub Dobesh to allow. Way too overcommitted to the right side, leaving the left side kind of wide open, where the shot probably would have gotten through regardless. But either way, Dorofeyev with the tip, just make sure it goes home. And, just a pathetic goal to allow. This game is tied. Dorofeyev with his 24th goal of the year from Hutton and Bryson Bowman, I believe is his name. So if your name started with a B for the Golden Knights, there was a good chance you were getting a point tonight. Ben Hutton, Brendan Bison, Brendan Bowman, Ivan Barbashev didn't get a point, but then again, when does he? So yeah, it's a tie game all of a sudden. There's a shot wide of the net. The rebound is right in front of the net for a Golden Knight to take it, but he's tied up. I didn't see who it was. Anderson ends up stepping up. He takes a shot, but that gets held with 2 minutes left. Habs good collapsing D again with 1:30 left as the Knights looked for the lead. Texier with a nice deke. He ends up getting tripped by Rasmus Andersson. With 32 seconds left, the Canadiens go to a power play. Demidov has a one-timer, but just fans on the shot. Eichel looks to get a shorthanded chance with 8 seconds left. Dobesh ends up covering. So, we are headed into overtime. The game is tied at 2 apiece. The Canadiens at least get 1 point tonight. Shots are 32-23 for Vegas. And we go to overtime, like I said. Deneau wins the draw. He goes right off for Caufield. The Habs end up cycling. Cole can't get a one-timer on some good setup. They finally do. Cole has a shot and a rebound slaff with a wide-open net on the backhand. Gloved by Schmid. This game probably could have been 5-2 Canadiens in regulation if Akira Schmid didn't exist. Hell, this game was over right there if it does even get to overtime. The game is over right there if it's Aiden Hill or Carter Hart. Well, if it's Carter Hart, it probably doesn't go to overtime. Yeah, so late in the power play, Marty does call the timeout after that because obviously Schmid holds. He's not just going to throw it out, go down the ice. He draws something up. Habs try to set up, but they just can't get a good look. There is something for Suzuki, but just doesn't get it on the power play. The Habs are 0 for 4. Knights press, but good D. In the midst of a line change, Canadiens end up rushing. Off a board battle, there's a nice 2-on-1. Evans has a guy with him, ends up dangling out Schmid. Wide open net. The backhand, gloved by Schmid. Not this time. In the back of the net, Jake Evans, of all guys. Jake Evans, with not just his first game winner of the year, I'm pretty sure, his first career overtime game-winning goal. Jake Evans gets his 6th of the year. The lone assist on that goal going to Alex Texier. A huge win for the Montreal Canadiens. A beauty of a goal for Jake Evans as well. In a game that, honestly, after the third period, the Canadiens almost didn't deserve to be in. However, doesn't matter if you deserve the game or not. The Canadiens are going to take the game from you 99% of the time. The Montreal Canadiens with the 3-2 win in overtime. The final shots, 34-26 for the Golden Knights. The Canadiens actually outshooting the Golden Knights 3-1 in that overtime, including the shot that matters. Shout out the hockey guy. Gotten pretty lazy recently, though, with his content, but hey, whatever. So yeah, the Canadiens get the win in this game. A very, very nice game winner there for Jake Evans. A solid momentum game for the Canadiens. A nice rebound as well, especially for a Canadiens team that is going to have a pretty tough rest of the week. We've got Colorado on Thursday, who, sure, they're coming off of a bit of a rough, glide. They're not falling in the standings. They're confidently in first in their division by 8 points, 10 points, something like that still. But they're on a little bit of a skid right now, but, they're still Colorado. They're going to be fucking good, and especially they're wearing the Quebec Nordiques jerseys on Thursday. I'm really looking forward to seeing that game. And then we play Buffalo again on Saturday, which, as we know, has not been that good for the Canadiens this year. I believe we did win the first game of the year, but the Sabres, unfortunately, have won both of the recent matchups in the month of January. That is on, I was going to say New Year's Eve. That's not New Year's Eve. That is on the last day of the month, though, January 31st. And then we get some pretty fun games after that. It's the last two games before the Olympic break. By the way, the Buffalo game is in Buffalo. We play a 7:30 game against Minnesota on the 2nd, and the Jets on the 4th, which if the Jets are still as bad as they are right now, that might be a bit of an easy game for us as well. Minnesota looking like they might be a bit of an easy game, so fingers crossed the Canadiens can go at least 3-1-0 in our final 4 games before the trade deadline, gain a little bit more leeway on teams like the Florida Panthers, the Philadelphia Flyers, the Capitals, the Leafs for the final wild card spot. Well, the final 2, we're currently tied with Boston. So yeah. Speaking of the standings, we have fallen out of 3rd. Right now, Buffalo does hold that, but I'm sure they'll fall back to the wild card soon enough. Not out of the playoffs, but fall to the wild card. Big difference. I'm sure Buffalo Sabres fans will take making the second wild card easily. I'm sure. Even if they get swept, I'm sure they're just happy to be in the playoffs. Poor goddamn Sabres fans, my god. But yeah, we have fallen out of 3rd right now. It is Buffalo who takes it. They're up by 0 points. They're tied with the Canadiens. They just have an extra win and a game in hand as well. However, while we are also tied with the Boston Bruins for the second wild card, yes, that's right, 3rd in the Atlantic is technically a 3-way tie. We do have a game in hand on Boston as well, who, had they not won tonight, we would have been up by 2 points on, which would have been a little bit better. Regardless, the Canadiens, Bruins, and Sabres are all up 6 points on the Florida Panthers, who have 2 games in hand on Boston and just 1 game in hand on the Canadiens. So a little bit of leeway here for the Montreal Canadiens. Of course, the Panthers, who could probably very easily go on a 3-game winning streak through their next 3 games, depending on who they play. I imagine they're playing some decent opponents, but they're not playing Vancouver and Winnipeg probably. We got to rely on Boston to fall off, and we got to rely on Buffalo to just fall back down to being a good team and not a goddamn godsend the way they've been playing the last 20 games. It's insane how good Buffalo's been recently. It's unfair to the rest of the league, but I'm sure Sabres fans are just very happy to, for once in literally the last 15 years, having a legitimately good team that will probably make the playoffs. But then again, if there's one year where the Sabres would get 45 wins and somehow miss the playoffs, this would be the year for that to happen. I really don't want to speak that into existence. So yeah, I genuinely don't. I actually want to see the Sabres make the playoffs. Not at the Canadiens' expense, please and thank you. I don't like the Sabres that much. So yeah, give you a little standings update there. Let's get into the Canadian stats and then work our way on out of here. So, big Nick Suzuki leads the Canadiens with 16 goals, 43 assists, and 59 points. He has 9 points in his last 6 games, but snaps a 5-game point streak tonight. That kind of sucks. Cole Caufield leads the Canadiens with 30 goals. He also has 24 assists for 54 points on the year. He has 9 goals, 2 assists in his last 6 games, including a, again, 6-game goal streak, which is the highest in his career. Shout out Cole Caufield. Lane Hudson, he's got 9 goals and 44 assists for 53 points. Ivan Demidov with 11 goals, 32 assists for 43 points. Juraj Slafkovsky's got 9 goals, 22 assists for 41 points. Noah Dobson, 9 goals, 23 assists for 32 points. Oliver Kapanen, 16 goals, 11 assists for 27 points. He is surprisingly and kind of quietly on a 7-game pointless drought. Not hearing that brought up all that much, which, again, he's a rookie. He's going to have that dry spell. I'd rather him have it now and be good again for the last 10, 15 games of the year when we might need him, rather than it happen in the playoffs, but we'll see. Mike Matheson with 5 goals, 21 assists, 26 points. We'll see how long that lasts, I should say. Matheson, surprisingly, now on a 5-game assist streak. Zach Bolduc with 10 goals, 10 assists for 20 points, and 14 of his 20 points have been scored on the road now, so he's starting to get there. I think we're almost at the point where I don't need to track which of his points have been on the road, but yeah, definitely a very disappointing second half of the year. Past 30 games, I would say, for Zach Bolduc, definitely. When he looked like he could have scored 20 to 25 goals this year. That would have been nice, but not going to happen. Josh Anderson, also, speaking of not scoring 20 goals, he's got 11 goals and 6 assists for 17 points. Alex Texier with 7 goals and 10 assists for 17 points. Alexander Carrier with 5 goals, 11 assists for 16 points. Brendan Gallagher with 4 goals, 11 assists, 15 points. He is on a 6-game pointless drought. Alex Newhook, who is unfortunately still hurt, and Jake Evans each have 6 goals, 6 assists, 12 points. Jake Evans actually snapped a 5-game pointless drought against Boston. I wanted to mention that just because I knew I would have forgotten if I just erased the note. But yeah, also quietly on a 2-game point streak now. Kirby Dach has 5 goals, 2 assists, 7 points. Again, somehow on a 7-game pointless drought. Phil Deneau has 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points, the opposite of Docker. Jaden Struble with 7 assists again. He was the healthy scratch tonight. Sammy Blais, unfortunately a healthy scratch tonight. 2 goals, 3 assists for 5 points. Joe Veleno also has not played in a while. He has 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points, and was on an 8-game pointless drought before he was scratched. Should be sent down. Caden Gooley with a goal and 2 assists for 3 points so far. Arbor Jacki with a goal and assist for 2 points. He is now on a 20-game pointless drought. Owen Beck, who is back in Laval, has a 7-game pointless drought in the league. In the NHL, the big league, I should say. And Patrick Laine, who is unfortunately still hurt. Florian Jacki and Jared Davidson, who are both in Laval, all have an assist this year. Arbor Jacki leads the Canadiens with 7 fights. Josh Anderson and Jaden Struble each have 2 fights. Kirby Dach, Joe Veleno, Caden Gooley, and Florian Jacki all have a fight as well. Oh yeah, probably should have mentioned Kirby Dach had a fight in the Boston game. I was going to mention that in my opening notes, but I kind of forgot to. But yeah, Dach, it looked like cut his finger. But thankfully, again, you heard him in my notes. He did play tonight, so hopefully it was just a little bit of a cut more than a injury type of cut. So yeah, as for the goaltending, Jakub Dobeš still leads the Canadiens with a 16-5-3 record, which doesn't sound right, but given that we only have 17 losses, I guess they do all add up. I think it's just because I'm used to having the 2-goalie system and not a 3-goalie system anymore, and Dobeš kind of took some of those wins and losses away, but regardless, Dobeš has a 16-5-3 record, a 2.96 goals against average, and an .890 save percentage. He's slowly bumping that god-awfulness up. Samuel Montembeault with a 9.82 record, a 3.42 goals against average. Oh wait, I did not correct from the Boston game. Give me a second, please, and thank you. Alright, I have it updated. Samuel Montembeault does have a 9.82 record. I did upgrade that, but he has a 3.46 goals against average and an .868 save percentage. Jacob Fowler, who is again currently in Laval because he'll be getting more consistent starts down there. He, in the NHL at least, had a 4-4-2 record, a 2.62 goals against average, and a .902 save percentage, along with still the only shutout that the Canadiens goaltenders have this year. So yeah, that is going to do it for this episode of the HabWrap. Thank you all so much for watching. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Hit the follow button if you're on Spotify, Amazon, wherever you might be listening to the podcast on. And yeah, don't forget to share the podcast with anybody who you think might enjoy listening to this, such as, of course, a fellow Montreal Canadiens fan, a hockey fan who might be looking for a Canadiens podcast to listen to, or someone who you think just might enjoy listening to some fat kid from Quebec talk about the Montreal Canadiens for half an hour after every game. So, yeah, again, thank you all so much for watching, especially if you got to this far into the video. Thank you very much. To give a very, very quick update, again, the DVD collection videos, I'm going to upload 2 tomorrow. Assuming I remember, I should because I've said it. But then again, maybe not. Either way, like I said, I'll upload 2 of those tomorrow. I think I've only got 4 left, if I remember correctly, to upload. I still have to film the box set video, but I'll do that relatively soon. Within the next 2 weeks, I think it's safe to say I should be able to film that. Again, I do have the DVD collection update that I've done. I have the second part of that. I'm going to say it now. In the first part, I do mention that there's going to be an addendum added. However, I do have an update that I'm adding at the end of the video where I'm going to say that I had so much that it's not worth putting at the end because that would only be the halfway point of the video. So, yeah, you guys don't have just one more video to look forward to. You guys have 2 to look forward to. So, yeah, that's exciting. So, yeah, look forward to all of that coming soon. After that, I don't know. Maybe we'll do some live streams. I know the Wi-Fi has been a little spotty at times this month because of the snow, and the wires underground getting a little frozen. So it's been a little spotty at times, which is why some of these HabWraps have gone up at like 3, 4 in the morning instead of 1, unfortunately. But either way, they do go up. So yeah, probably am gonna wait until around March or April to start fully live streaming. But again, you never know if we don't do a test stream. So I don't know. We'll do that at some point if you guys want me to. I don't know what I would do. Probably just talk Canadians, and I don't know. Maybe we'll do a live podcast one of these games. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe we'll do a. Well, I can't. Okay, maybe not an Olympic game because those games start at like 6 in the morning. But I don't know. Sometime we'll consider doing a live stream. We'll see what we can do then. Who knows? Maybe I'll finally get around to 365 days, 365 movies, which I've not forgotten about. I have been updating. I actually have 2 spreadsheets I've done. I've updated. I did the original one. I completed the 365 days, 365 movies, and I've had a movie watching logger for what is it now? Probably like 6 months since that technically finished in July of 2025. So yeah, I've been updating it for 6 months, 7 months, something like that. So yeah, we'll see if I get around to that at some point. Maybe I'll do a big 2-hour-long video just talking about all the movies from 365 days, and then we'll slowly catch up. We'll see. I don't know. Probably not, though. So yeah, again, that is going to do it for this episode of the HabWrap. Thank you once for watching. And always remember, no matter how good we are like last year, how good we are like this year, or how great we'll be in the future, go Habs go, Allez Montreal, and say it with me, everybody, C'est la boo!